If you're a Milwaukee Brewers fan, odds are either you or someone you know isn't too fond of Luis Urias. In fact, you might even be described as a hater. No, not that one. Luis Urias is an incredibly polarizing player, and honestly, the hate on him is pretty intense. You don't have to look around on Brewers Twitter too long to see fans frustrated at pretty much every aspect of his game, pretty much begging for him to be replaced by a replacement level player. But Urias is better than that. He's proven over the past 2 seasons that he's still a valuable asset to the team, even as he still continues to experience the growing pains of being a young player. Even with the crew's middle infield depth being tested by the crazy Willy Adames injury and Bryce Terang's struggles at the plate, you'd think Urias' return would be welcomed after missing almost 60 games after an opening day hamstring injury. Yet, it seems as though patience is wearing thin for the former top prospect that was previously the headliner of the Grisham-Davies-Urias-Lauer trade. Yeah, it's true, Urias has really been struggling to start the 2023 season, but the attitude that Urias isn't a valuable player has been ruminating ever since he landed in Milwaukee. In all honesty, a lot of the concerns about Urias' play do have some validity, as he still struggled to put up a batting average higher than 250 in any full major league season. Yeah. Has his glove been inconsistent and often unreliable on simple plays, specifically at the shortstop position? Also yeah. But his overall offensive production is nothing to scoff at either. In this video, we're going to take a deep look at why Urias should be considered one of the most valuable bats in the Brewers lineup, or at least respected more than replacement level players. Along with his defensive versatility, there's still hope that Urias can develop into an above average, everyday major league player, and maybe even an all-star if things click right over the next few seasons. Welcome back to another Brew City Baseball production. If you're new here, take a second to hit that like and subscribe button for a new video every week. If you've been here before and you're already subscribed, you're the best. I appreciate you. Now let's get right into it. First, we're going to take a look at some of the reasons why people might see Urias as a struggling player. At the time of this recording, Urias is definitely stuck in the middle of it to start the 2023 season. After an 0-for-4 showing on opening day versus the Cubs, Urias strained his hamstring and ended up on the 60-day IL. He was finally just activated on June 6th, but he's only recorded 1 hit in his 18 at-bats so far this season. Obviously, that's not good. It's actually quite bad. His OPS plus right now actually sits at negative. So yeah, it's not good to start the year. But if you listen to most Brewers fans, they'd make it sound like this is par for the course with Urias and that this is the type of production that you should expect from him. But let's take a look at what caused this negative perception to happen in the first place.
Why do you guys hate me?
Urias actually went from a complete unknown to a top 20 prospect in all of baseball. The scouting report when Urias left the Padres was that his value was dependent on 2 things: his middle infield position and his ability to make contact. Before being traded from the Padres, Wicho played in 83 games for the team in 2018 and 2019, but really failed to make a strong first impression. In his time in San Diego, he batted only .221 with an OPS plus of 76, so quite considerably below league average. His first year in Milwaukee was even worse, and it really got off on the wrong foot as well. Luis was having a really productive time playing winter ball in Mexico, where he was slashing .288, .400, .458, and 141 plate appearances. But a wrist injury would pop up, and after evaluation by the Brewers, Urias would have surgery to repair his left hamate bone, causing him to miss opening day and the start of the season. Luckily for him, thanks to the pandemic delay, Urias would only miss the first 13 games of the season with his new team. But his first season with the new club would turn out to be just as disappointing as the initial injury that he had. While his batting average improved to .239 in 109 at-bats, Urias would only have 5 extra base hits and no home runs for a career low .602 OPS, along with a career-high 26.7% strikeout rate, which is concerning given his supposed strength of making contact. His OPS plus would suffer as a result, coming in at a measly 63 for the season. He had a negative .20 WAR on the season, while his defense actually kept his overall WAR positive, but just barely, at .1 wins above replacement. At this same time, Grisham would go on to win a Gold Glove in San Diego in 2020, as he would also put up a strong offensive season, putting up 10 long balls and a 123 OPS plus plus, totaling 2.5 WAR in the shortened season, which had many fans questioning the trade. But come 2021, and Urias would actually be the starting shortstop for the Brewers over Orlando Arcia. He even started off opening day with a bang before I could even make it into my seats to watch the game. The Brewers even doubled down on Urias being their starting shortstop, trading Orlando Arcia to the Atlanta Braves only a few games into the season. Unfortunately, Urias made it clear that he was not ready for this responsibility quite yet. He struggled at the plate in his first 40 games with the team through May 21st. An important marker for the season, as that's when the Willy Adames trade went down. Urias hit only .211 to start the season and struggling mightily defensively, committing 9 errors at shortstop in only the first month and a half of play. To make matters worse, most of these errors appeared to be mental, as these are simple plays that any shortstop should be able to make. Despite these struggles and the Brewers' willingness to go out and acquire a new shortstop, the opportunities for Urias weren't over yet, and at this point, he hadn't even played in a full 162 games at the major league level. So clearly, there's still time for him to prove himself. The Adames trade is really where this narrative starts to shift. 2021 was definitely a different season with different results for Luis. Throughout the crazy pandemic-shortened season, one in which Urias was just arriving with his new team and recovering from an injury that debilitates hitters, then the picture looks much different, and that's what we're going to take a look at right now. With the trade for Adames, much of the pressure was taken off of Urias, and he was able to relax and play much less demanding positions at second base and third base, but importantly, he also gained a mentor in Adames. As Urias was able to settle into his new role, he finally appeared to be the player that scouts envisioned. In 2021, Urias finally showed his ability to hit the ball hard and to hit for power, as he would go on to knock 23 long balls on the season. Sitting behind me is actually the first home run ball that Urias hit at American Family Field. I didn't catch it on the fly, but still counts. Luis was a mainstay in the Brewers lineup in 2021, playing in 150 games for the team, as he would be a key player in the team's strong regular season success, ultimately winning 95 games. Urias slashed .249, .345, .445 with 112 OPS+. This was actually third best on the team among qualifiers, only behind Willy Adames and Avisail Garcia. He was actually 6th on the team with a 3.3 WAR and 3rd among position players for the year, with only the 3-headed starting pitcher monster of Burns, Peralta, and Woodruff, along with Colton Wong and once again Willy Adames, with higher WARs on the season. Overall, in 2021, Urias was one of the most productive players on a team that went on to win their division and almost set a franchise record for wins. While the Brewers team as a whole would falter in their NLDS matchup against the Atlanta Braves, Urias would step up in some big ways for the club. Although the team had just gone out and acquired Eduardo Escobar ahead of the trade deadline from the Arizona Diamondbacks, his bat went ice cold to end the season, to the point where he was used very sparingly in the playoffs. Instead, it was Wicho that got the shot. The entire Brewers offense struggled mightily in that series. So although Urias's 2 hits and 2 walks in the series aren't that much, he still led the team in OBP for the series. But impressively, it was Luis's glove that showed up in that series that really made an impact. Even with the defensive struggles that caused him to lead the league in errors as a shortstop, as well as 4th among the entire league in errors committed at any position, as they would say in the bigs, in the NLDS, Urias was flashing more leather than an 80s rock band. Overall, 2021 was a positive season for Urias, and the best one of his career up to this point. He would maintain this success in 2022 as well. While he would play in 30 less games for the team, he still slashed .239, .335, .404 with 16 home runs, as he'd go on to reduce his strikeout rate as well. He'd regressed slightly in the OPS plus category, but was still above league average, coming in at 109. He followed up his 3.3 WAR season in 2021 with a 3.1 WAR season in 2022, making a statement that he deserves a spot on the field. Generally speaking, a player with a WAR of 2 or higher is seen as a starter, and Urias proved in the past 2 seasons that he's certainly capable of that level of production. While his OPS plus would also come in at 6th best on the team, his WAR continues to depict him as a key producer on the Brewers roster. In 2022, it was only Willy Adames who set a franchise record for home runs as a shortstop, and Corbin Burns who followed up his Cy Young campaign with 135 ERA plus and league-leading 243 strikeouts, had higher WARs than Urias. If you're only looking at WAR, Urias actually outperformed 10 players that have a higher salary on him throughout the season, including Yelich's $26 million, Kane's $18 million, and Hader's $11 million contracts for the 2022 season. All of this being while Urias is still the youngest position player on the roster that has played in at least half of the team's games. Yet, like I mentioned earlier, the the hate for Urias really never seems to end. So, despite the intense criticism that Urias has faced, he has certainly proven himself to be statistically a valuable asset to the Brewers. While his performance has been scrutinized, he's shown improvement and potential. In the 2021 season, Urias emerged as a key player, contributing to the team with his power hitting and his overall offensive production. He maintained the success in 2022 and showcased this through a WAR that outperformed many of his higher-paid teammates. Despite the negativity surrounding him, it's important to recognize Urias' contributions and his potential to further grow in the future. Wicho should certainly be respected for the contributions that he's made to the Brewers for the past couple seasons. Rather than dismissing him as a replacement level player, it's important to acknowledge the progress he's made, his offensive capabilities, and defensive versatility. Urias has the potential to become an above-average, everyday player, and a perennial all-star and gold glover at that. It's time to shift the narrative and recognize his value as one of the Brewers' more productive players, deserving of the respect and recognition that comes with that. Anyways, if you haven't yet, please take a second to smash that like and subscribe button for a new video every week. It really does go a long way in helping me grow the channel. I'd also love to hear from you down in the comments below. Do you think that the hate on Urias is unreasonable? Do you think that he has the potential to be respected as an everyday player like I do? Share your thoughts with me down in the comments below. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time, baseball fans.